Good Italian
The
food.
Italian place, Stromboli's.
Good Italian
Man,
food.
that was a good pick, Marcus. I don't know if you even knew that or you were just like, hey, let's go there.
He said he'd been there twice, right?
I've been there already 3 or 4 times. So.
Okay.
Today.
Very
Today.
good.
Today, just today, just today. Yeah.
Today.
No, we have been there 2 years ago, several times on the last EMO, and last year we had a hockey tournament here in Hanover as well.
Okay.
So we stayed in that hotel. Plus, we went in the evening with the kids to that restaurant.
All right. Well, it's a very special episode of the
my
Misfit podcast because it's an honor to have his deepness on.
Highly honored.
Markus Ewecker,
We're speechless.
the managing director of Tungco GmbH and HSS GmbH. Markus, good to have you. I touch you now.
Oh, I
course.
love it when
love
you
it.
touch me.
Thank you for gracing us.
It's
good sir.
it's an honor. I think I made some jokes that I will touch Paul, but honestly, I don't know him so well. So maybe
vi-
tomorrow. Maybe I start to touch it tomorrow.
Maybe you have some drinks tonight.
He's violent.
I think
He-
tonight's the end of the program anyway. So
Paul's like,
good luck.
I'm
At
out
Paul's
of here.
age, he's feral. He is feral.
Okay. Yeah, good to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Yeah. Great to have you on. And just want to talk a little bit about our history together. I mean, when is the first time you remember doing business with Tungco as a supplier?
We met Kent and Steve back in 2003, I think, in Prague.
Okay.
We just heard about your company, and I think it was Harry and myself that had a nice evening with Steve and Kent.
And that was when you were with Chronomat, correct?
No, at that time, that was a very small 2 years work thing with Interzero.
Interzero, yeah.
And then we started 2004 at Crony-Lec. That was a daughter company of Cronimet. So yeah.
Were all of those tungsten related or no?
So Interzero was their main business was ferrous, so iron scrap, and Cronimet's main business was stainless steel, or still stainless steel. But we worked always for that special departments, tungsten carbide, high-speed steel.
I see.
So Chronomat, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're one of the largest stainless companies definitely in Europe, if not the world, correct?
In the past, they were definitely the biggest worldwide. I'm not sure whether they are still the biggest. Maybe not anymore.
Yeah, so your question, Paul, a lot of our kind of competitors are bigger in other metals. So Chronomet is very big, and if not the biggest in stainless. So if you go to their website and look them up, they have yards all over the world.
Correct.
And they're collecting what we would call like commercial scraps from stainless steel generator, or people who are generating a stainless steel scrap.
So you would buy from them, in other words, a company like that.
I'll let Markus explain kind of how that works.
Yeah, for example, in Germany, or in Europe, most of our suppliers are scrap traders, and some of them, the main business is tungsten carbide, but most of them, it is just a part of their business. They are doing non-ferrous, ferrous, stainless steel, name it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as we've talked about, I mean, the volume of tungsten compared to, like when you were doing high speed with Schultz, like you were doing train loads, right?
Yes, correct.
Of material.
Correct.
I mean,
Ferrous material.
High-speed steel. So their main metal is iron, but rest is chromium, molybdenum, tungsten, cobalt, and vanadium.
Everything.
yeah. So when we went to the show today, you guys probably didn't realize it, but you would have walked through or walked past some booths that, like their advertisement, you might have thought you were looking at a tungsten carbide part, but it's a high-speed part. So it's not a It's not quality. It's just designed for something else. It won't take the wear that a tungsten carbide would take. So like, what would a high speed application be in the
So tungsten carbide, it needs to be more precise, harder, faster, and high-speed steel. Sometimes they are in competition. It depends a little bit on the quality of the high-speed steel, but in general. They are not in competition. But these days, remember when we talked last week in Helsinki to William Perry Jones, when he said that the price becomes so high these days for tungsten carbide, you could consider to use high speed instead, even though that tool will maybe not remain that long like a tungsten carbide tool would remain, but it is still cheaper if you change it a couple of times.
You're still coming in cheaper than if you bought tungsten carbide bit. Help me with this high-speed steel. All right, how does it get its name?
High speed. There's a good. That is a good question. So, high speed. Also here, most of the high speed are drills, taps, and so on and so forth. So they need to drill. So everything what they do is doing in high speed.
Okay.
So that is basically
very high speed.
Very high speed.
Yeah.
And so if that steel can have a couple of different compositions to it, like how much the things, but it's primarily used in a high speed application.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
And with that speed comes heat, and where there's heat and friction there, something's going to give. And typically, the edge, or what like we would call just at your house you'd call it a knife edge, but that's what a drill is doing. It's a cutting edge, and that's where you need your moly, chrome, tungsten to help that, because if it's just iron, I mean, everybody at home has went to Lowe's or somewhere and bought a drill bit off the shelf, and you go home and it says it's made for steel, for drilling steel, and you drill one hole and it either snaps or if you put too much on it, it's like dull, and it's just like, just sitting there. High speed is better about that, and tungsten is even better.
Wow.
So the tungsten, you're going to get hole after hole after hole after hole.
Because the main part is tungsten with this very high melting loss. So heat is not a problem.
Yeah.
So tungsten makes sense that it has a high salvage value, secondary market, if that's the right way to say it. So I'm hearing that high speed steel has. Tell me about that. It has a high value to salvage it, or secondary market.
High-speed steel, for example, you melt in a big furnace. So what you are basically doing is, let's say, for example, into a foundry, you throw in, that is the easiest way. You throw in, name it M2, which is a quality solid scrap in, and you melt that scrap until it is liquid, and then the liquid steel you put into small you make small kind of ingots that you can work later on to get it into bars or whatever.
So it recycles pretty easy then.
Correct. And tungsten carbide is a little bit more challenging to recover.
So high speed is actually more like what you would see on a big steel vat where it's liquid metal and they're pouring it out. Where tungsten, as we've talked about, because the melting point is so high, you're not going to be able to do that. Yeah.
And then the cost of it being, there's a good market there for salvaged high speed steel.
Correct. And in in the past, the market was basically just in Europe, and then over the last decades, it flipped quite a lot into Asian markets, mainly China, and because they can produce normal tools cheaper than we can in Europe or in the United States.
So, Markus, you've been the managing director for Tungco GmbH since, what did we say the other day?
March
Since
22.
And now we are taking full ownership of HSS GmbH, and you'll be the managing director of that as well. Just curious, like, how are you feeling? What do you feel like are going to be some new challenges for you, and maybe what are you excited about moving forward?
It is always, when I started in the past, something new. I'm always totally excited about that, even though it will be quite challenging, because we made last week a couple of points. I spoke to Yolanda, I spoke to Kirsten, Zerdal, who are all employees of
That's your
Tungco.
team. That's your team, right?
It's my team at Tungco GmbH in Germany, and we talked about what we made a list, actually, what we need to do in the first couple of weeks when we take over fully. And honestly, it's not just challenging; it's also a little scary.
Sure.
Because it's really plenty of work. It's really plenty of work, but it will. I mean, we did it with everything new. We did well so far, and I touch wood. Also here, and that means we bring HSS recycling back to the top.
Yep. Very good. Markus and I, he mentioned how long we'd been doing business. I mean, that goes back to Steve's and Kent's time, 2003. And then when we decided, it was ITIA Toronto.
Correct.
Where
2014.
where we said, okay, look, we want to, interestingly enough, I recalled that the first EMO show that Ryan and I came to was in 2013 here, and that's when ITIA was in Australia. So it went from Australia, and then that's where we decided we wanted to be in Europe. And then in 2014, when ITIA was in Toronto, that's where we got with you and made you the offer to, or at least said, hey, let's get together and kind of do a formal offer.
And honestly, it took me a while. I think that was in I think that was in September, and I think until I signed the contract, that was a couple of months later, because I worked almost 20 years then in business, and I always worked for German companies. So
Sure.
that was something different for me, even though we are Western world, but culture is different.
Yes.
I mean, even in Europe, I live, or our family lives just 45 kilometers away from the Netherlands border, and it's also
concerned you the most? One is that at that time in Europe, at least from Markus's perspective, American companies had a little bit of reputation for just walking away. Like, so you would hire team members, make investments, and then when things didn't work out, they just bail. And he's like, that makes me nervous. So, so that impacted the length of time that we did our agreement. Because I'm like, hey, I don't want you to be in the back of your mind worried that we're going to bail on you. The other thing, this is what made me laugh the most, because on the inside, I'm like, oh, he's the German version of me. He said sometimes when I say things, it comes across like a fist to the face. He said my words come across like a fist to the face. I was like,
Did you do it like this?
no, he's like you're in good company. And Markus is an excellent leader, and I mean he's speaking to us in English, but German is obviously his mother tongue, and it's been really awesome to watch him mature and really grow into this managing director position. He's doing a fantastic job.
What's the difference between what you do in the stateside with Tungsten and what you do here? Are they mirrors of each other? And what is the comparison for the volume that comes out of Europe and the volume that comes from North America?
That is a good question.
I'll let him go. I'll let him go first.
Was that a good question?
It's a good question.
I was going to ask
worthy.
about pallets, but
No.
Okay.
Just on the scrap side, it is pretty similar. Just on the scrap side.
Procurement of scrap.
Correct. Procurement of scrap. They in the States they have some qualities we don't do here. Because we have not, for example, mining is not a big thing in Europe. Of course, we are buying it from outside of Europe, but it is just in smaller quantities. Plus, you guys doing the grid, so the crushing. We don't have a crusher, but what we have, and Tungco is now implementing an own laboratory. Since we moved to Germany, since we are in Krefeld, we have HSS Recycling's laboratory, and that speeded up the analysis for soft scrap, turnings, whatever, sometimes to 48 hours until
Very nice.
till we have the analysis. I mean, that is definitely a big advantage.
Yeah, I mean we're 7 days at best, if not 14 days, on results, and because theirs are in-house, they're immediate.
So the scrap that comes, the sludge that's in a barrel, let's say, you do an analysis on it to see what the content of that barrel is.
Correct.
You sell it just like it is, or do you have to separate all that out into separate kinds of metals?
No.
Sell it just like it is.
Yeah, correct. And another difference is the paperwork.
Oh my God.
Permissions. Germany is very strict on everything.
We can take the rest of the podcast talking about this.
Could take that would take forever. If you see, you visited the warehouse in March or on last week on Friday. You have been there as well.
Just stakeholders.
Okay,
Yeah.
just the stakeholders.
Hopefully in a few days.
So you saw it, and it took us with paperwork, bringing on to the authorities, with putting drafts in, and with basically everything what the authorities wanted. It took us almost a year, 12 months.
Wow.
In total.
Wow.
The building existed already, just to move in it and use it.
Yeah,
for you.
move in. You need to fulfill. Of course, honestly, everything is correct, totally correct as it is. Just the timeline is
Slow.
Yeah.
I mean, even if he wants to move a piece of equipment from this side of the plant to the other side of the plant,
You need to inform the authorities, and they have 4 weeks to prove it. If they don't say anything, negative or positive, after 4 weeks, you can move it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So it's very, very
More
cumbersome.
tightly regulated.
Yeah.
Just as a thought, how much material is there any material moving between Tungco US and Tungco Germany, or is Tungco Germany just working within Europe, doing what it does there? I didn't know if Tungco Germany may help supply some of what you guys are doing.
We did that in the past, but honestly, over the last couple of years, what happened in the US stood in the US, and what happened in Europe stood
Stayed
in Europe.
Yeah, makes sense.
There'll be times when we are trying to provide solutions for customers that maybe Marcus has a customer that really needs something that he doesn't have or something like this,
certainly.
that we would internally swap material on. We've done that, but that's a very small percentage.
Or with the tariff situation
Yeah,
in the
correct,
US, that, for example, you couldn't bring it into the US, so you bring it to us, to Europe. So
Yeah.
that is then a nice thing to have in Europe and in the United States warehouses or facilities.
So your customer base is, how much of it is Germany and how much of it is outside of Germany?
Now, our customers here are in Europe mainly. The tungsten carbide world is fairly small, so you have just a couple here in Europe. You have a couple in the US.
But his suppliers are
That's why I'm
all
saying
on
the
this.
suppliers, would they be more based in Germany or throughout
no, his
Europe?
suppliers are all over.
All over. However, we get a fair amount within Germany, but for whatever reason, the German scrap traders are very well educated, price-wise. So,
Yeah.
Tight.
Yeah, you have
Tighter
very tight
negotiations.
margins.
That's,
Yeah,
we
very
talked
tight
about it
margins.
on another pod that Germany is still the industrial hub for now of Europe. So most of the tungsten carbide is going to be generated in Germany. But there are other areas throughout the world, I mean, even in the Middle East, that we buy from that comes here to Europe.
Correct.
How do you meet those people so far away?
There are several scrap trading conferences. BR is the biggest, I would say, conference, and then they come from all over the world. It doesn't matter if it is from the Philippines or if it is from Africa. They come.
Does your team have to travel quite a bit?
Yeah, Jimmy Greene, our guy, our man in Ireland. He did a lot of traveling over I think since 22 roundabout.
About
He's
that,
in
yeah.
procurement, and he was really a fair amount on the road. But if you consider, for example, this month we have been to the ITIA last week, more or less the full week, and this week we are a full week.
Customers all day
in
long.
Hanover.
Yeah.
In Hanover. Of course, you have weeks or months where it is a little bit more laid back on the traveling side, but then you have other things to do. For example, next month, the full month will be focused on HSS recycling start under Tungco flag, full Tungco flag.
If you could describe it in general, if you're at a trade show or wherever, what kind of business partner or customer are you looking for to, like, new business? Like, what does that look like? What's a good situation? And describing that for someone who doesn't know much about how the industry works for you here in Europe.
For example, if you go to a BRR, what I always do is the BRR has an own app, so you can see all the registered companies. So what I most of the time do is I look whether they are doing stainless steel, because fun fact here, most of stainless steel companies, trading companies, they are getting carbide as well. Okay. So that is a reason where you ask for a meeting or something.
So you mentioned carbide because carbide is always associated with the tungsten, or at least a lot of the time.
Tungsten carbide.
It's one and the same typically.
It's just another word.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's only tungsten, someone would typically say pure tungsten.
Yeah.
That way, you know, whatever the metal is, whether it's chips or turnings or whatever, you would know that it's pure. But then there's other things like is it Mallory densalloy,
Yeah,
some of these other products.
these heavy metals.
So when you say carbide, you're essentially saying
Tungsten carbide.
Yeah.
It is just to shorten it.
One just little nerd factor here is tungsten carbide is a sintered product, and it's technically a ceramic. So it is different than what he's talking about the hard metals or the heavy alloys. They are a metal, but they're soft, and they're machinable. So you can take, like if Royce, that big block, the weighted block that for a NASCAR, that's not tungsten carbide. That's a heavy alloy, and that's why it's threaded all the way through. It's machinable. Tungsten carbide is not machinable without being ground.
Wow.
With a diamond.
Wow. Okay.
So like those rods that we were looking at today at the trade show, the way that goes from a round or a blank to a drill is it's ground with a diamond grinder, a CNC diamond grinder. On a heavy metal or a heavy alloy like a densalloy or whatever, they can actually machine that, and it's done with like another tungsten carbide or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how do you get nerd out really far, like how do you get tungsten on the edge of something and not throughout the whole metal? I mean, that would seem hard to me to think.
You brace it on.
Yeah, you mean like a piece or
like
a wear
you
application?
have a drill, and
Yeah.
you have out on the lead edges all the way through. You have tungsten.
No. You have, for example, you could have a full drill, so all is tungsten carbide, and then you could have drills where the shank is iron, and there's just
the tip.
Just the tip is carbide,
Oh,
and then
so
it's
that's
braced, and then it's braced on it.
Okay. Yeah. So it doesn't just go all the way up the lead edge. It's just that tip.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
There's several different. You can even they've got coatings too that you can do
Yeah,
some things with.
that's
to add
correct.
it.
So like
Yeah.
where you're talking about, or not specifically what you're talking about,
Like
Paul,
turbine.
yeah. So
wings,
like
you
yeah,
spray it on almost. It's like a.
yeah. So
Right.
like if you're looking at the fan blades on a jet engine, like if
Right.
you're in a plane and you look back out the window and you see those weird looking curved fan blades, a lot of times those are like some kind of a high cobalt alloy as far as the blade itself, and then they'll coat that with a tungsten product, because Marcus has already mentioned the melting point of tungsten is 6,000 degrees F, and so all of that heat and everything that's going in there, that tungsten is going to keep that fan blade safe.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned someone who deals in stainless steel would be someone that you would want to make a connection with. Was it stainless?
Stainless, yeah.
Would they also be someone who would potentially have high-speed steel in their processes too?
It is very unlikely that they just do stainless.
Okay.
Of course, you have companies that say, okay, I have just a couple hundred of kilograms per year. Same is on high speed. But very often, companies put stainless steel on the trailer, and then they said, I have still a drum here, I have still a drum there, and put it on the trailer as well. So how it works.
And so I know there's different kinds, but primarily you're looking to find a company who's manufacturing something that has leftover tungsten of some kind or leftover high-speed steel. Was that that said correctly?
What you could do, not to answer your question, but what you could also do is when you, for example, at a show, you see where that company is located.
Sure.
If that is an industrial area, then there is a fair chance that they have everything if they are located there, because every city, every area, every county in, let's say, Germany have a lot of recycling warehouses, yards. So there you can be lucky to get scrap from there. So
I think one of the things that just people who don't really know scrap in general is the first thing you have to delineate is like a waste yard. So not quite let's say a landfill, but just a cut above that. Okay. That's not what we're talking about.
No. Gotcha.
They take plastics. You just come dump it. They'll take whatever, and then they have some limited separating and sorting. But then they'll do like a pre-sort, if you will, and those pre-sorts will go somewhere else. A general junkyard is what you think about whenever it's like they'll take cans, cars, anything that's got metal in it or on it. That's a true like rough of the rough scrapyard. Mm-hmm. What Markus is talking about is what we would call a commercial scrapyard. So they're not taking the cars and all that stuff. Like you've got to bring them pretty decent scrap off the street. And more than likely, they're not taking that many people off the street. They have like
they're handling companies.
Yeah, so you'll pass these big manufacturing companies, and they have bins, like huge bins, like big roll-off bins or containers. Yeah. So they're more strategic, and they don't have a lot of people. Like a junkyard or the other waste yard is going to have a lot of people off the street. Markus is talking about more commercial scrap, and they're just like Markus and Rob and other people are very targeting because we know where tungsten is at. Mm-hmm. Those guys do the same thing.
Gotcha.
But because they're so industrial, they're gonna get some of this other stuff because they're probably using it in their plant as part of their manufacturing process, and it's just going to be a small piece of it. But like he mentioned, Cronomet has yards all over the world. Yep. So what they do is they're going to they might only get 100 pounds here, 500 pounds, 600 pounds, but then they're able to consolidate all that and have multiple truckloads. So it's it's a very strategic. The commercial side, to me, is more strategic than some of those others where it's almost like a pre-sort.
We've talked about the demand for tungsten worldwide, that there's more demand than there is supply, and some of that has to come from primary material and some from scrap, and then there's still probably a gap, a delta between what is needed and what is able to be gathered. And then how would you assess the demand in Europe versus, say, North America?
In the past, the demand in Europe was always exceeding the American demand, but while our industry is struggling here over the last couple of years, I would say we are pretty close these days. No?
Yeah, I would say I haven't seen the numbers this year from ITIA, but it's getting closer to parity. Yeah. Back in the, let's say 5 years, or definitely pre-COVID, the European demand was about 17,000 tons, and North American demand was about 13,000. So it'd be anywhere from a 4,000 to 6,000 ton gap.
Didn't you say that there's like 100 million or 60 million ton?
100,000 tons a year.
100,000 tons.
Yeah, and you can drop half of that off. Half of that is in China.
Okay.
So go right down to 50. Yeah. And so if you take, let's say the U.S. is 13 and EU is 17, so what's that
30.
What's that putting you at 30? Yeah. So then you got 20 for the rest of the world. Yeah. Japan might be at like 5 or 6, and then it's just going to kind of Japan would be the next from that, and then it's going to get spotty from there. Yeah.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
So Markus, as you step into this new season, HSS, you said there's a lot of work there, a lot of things. And it's kind of a question you asked, but what excites you the most? What's the potential, in a sense, the dream? What could happen that excites you? What's possible?
The potential is definitely if you look at HSS recycling over the last couple of years, they had some bad luck in the market, honestly, because the high-speed steel market is not in a good condition, honestly. And but I think we are a very flexible team. We are, as you know, Tungco GmbH is a very effective team. So with taking over of HSS Recycling, I would like to implement that as well, and we will find new markets for our materials to bring HSS pretty soon back into black numbers.
Yes.
Is this just doing the same thing in a different location that you're doing in your place?
HSS Recycling is this warehouse.
It's next door.
It's next door.
Yeah. Yeah, it's next door.
And you're doing the same thing? You're basically, are you expanding?
No,
or is it
one is
different
high-speed
markets?
steel and one is tungsten carbide.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and just a quick history on that. When we started in 14, we started in Ireland. And so he's mentioned Jimmy a couple of times. Jimmy's based in Ireland. And the way Jimmy and us started working together was Jimmy was our plant manager there. And so we were there for right at 5 years. And things were going good, but we were starting to have a little bit of shipping challenges. It was challenging for Markus and the team to get small lots of material over to Ireland. That's just the shipping costs would erode all of your margin, right? And one of the reasons why we went there was because Ireland actually has a 12.5% flat tax. And then when Trump came in the first time and changed the new tax law that caused repatriation taxes, we actually lost all the benefit. So we immediately started looking so now we lost the tax benefit and we're paying shipping. At that time, if you looked at before that, our tax savings and the shipping was almost a wash. But when that happened, now we're going backwards because we're having to pay the taxes plus we're having to pay shipping. So in 2019, Harry Stender approached us. We were in Stresa at ITIA, Stresa, Italy, on the lake there, and said, hey, be interested in you guys buying our company. And of course, at that time, nobody knows COVID's going to hit, right? Because this is just September of 2019, October of 2019. Me and Markus and Harry kind of make a handshake agreement that we're going to kind of go in that direction. And then COVID hits, the world shuts down, the Western world shuts down. It's like March 13th, March 15th of 2020. And so we really only have just a few months to decide, okay, how is this going to roll out? And if we had not had that HSS option, it would have absolutely crippled. I mean, Tungco Worldwide, which is what it was called when it was in Ireland, they would have done zero business. And the reason why is because everybody forgets how high shipping costs soared. We were doing business.
Made no sense.
We were doing business in Taiwan. We were shipping some containers for around 3,500 euro. It went all the way to 25,000 euro.
You're just not going to do it.
Yeah, no. So you're just not going to do business. So that, that's just grace. Because nobody knew that was coming. Just the timing ended up perfect for us.
Wow.
And so, Paul, when we first came here, the HSS building, we leased space from them.
Yeah.
And at the time, they were very busy, so that was super challenging.
Yeah.
And then the warehouse that adjoins them but is separate, they're just contiguous under roof, it was coming available. So we went ahead and verbally committed to that. And so they run the HSS business out of HSS building, and we do the tungsten out of Tungco GmbH, which is right next to it.
When you picked them up, did you pick up material that was in stockpiled at all, or was it just the customer base? What were you actually getting?
You're buying the business because Adam Rubin at the time was running 74 alloys, and 74 alloys was selling high speed throughout the world, but we weren't going too much direct. HSS has the ability to go direct, so we kind of skipped the line by being able to buy HSS. That's pretty fair to say that.
That is correct. And I need to add one more thing on that island destination. It was definitely the shipping cost that was the key factor. But the lead time was directly the second one, because you have to ship it first to Ireland. That took forever. and then you have to ship it back. That took forever. So back to the mainland, to Europe mainland, and the lead time was terrible sometimes.
Yeah. I think probably the biggest positive I took away from the Ireland start was that it was very low cost to start, and it gave us the chance for us all to work together.
Right.
It helped us on our end. It was harder for Marcus from a language perspective, but it helped us on the state side because Ireland speaks English. So to be able to be in Europe and have that, let's say, fluency did help us on our side to try to be a little bit more effective. But we couldn't have asked for a more timely transition just from everything. And now Jimmy, who was our plant manager, he's a super rock star on everything he does. And we were like, okay, well, Jimmy's got to stay with us. We got to figure this out. So we gave him the opportunity to be in procurement. Never done it before in his life. Again, that's another one that just
Got
because
lucky.
somebody's a rock star, that doesn't mean they're going to be good somewhere else.
It doesn't.
So we tried to have that conversation that said, hey, are you willing to try this? And he was like, hey, I don't have anything to lose. We're shutting the plant down. Let's try it. And, we thought he might just buy material from the English-speaking part of Europe and kind of stay there. He's buying stuff all the way in the Middle East. I mean, he's all over the place. He loves it. And honestly, we've watched him come out of his shell and just become a completely different guy. I mean,
He's a wonderful guy anyway.
Oh, yeah. I forgot you met him when we were in
went
Ireland.
golfing,
We
yeah.
hung out. Yeah, that's right.
He wasn't much of a golfer, but
Yeah, well, me and him were in that same category. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look to our team, not just here in Europe, also in the US, on the procurement side, for example, everyone is different. Everyone is different, and I think when you did this, or when you are doing these disc profiles,
Yeah.
I mean, you need to have a mix
Yes.
disc. Because otherwise it wouldn't work. If you would have just as we are Ds, my goodness me, you could shut down the company.
Right. Yes. It's true.
Yeah, I'm a D, and Marcus is a D as well.
Yes.
Yeah. One thing that's interesting about the disc, Paul, I don't know if you remember this or not, but you were the first one that introduced me to that. You were doing it when you were still at Turnpoint, and I was up there just doing an intern deal with you for a couple weeks. I wasn't even living there. And it's when you had to do the bubble it in. I still have that one today.
Oh, wow.
It was like from I was probably 19 or 20 years old. So that was, you were my introduction to disc, and we still use it today. 25, 26 years later.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, Marcus, I just want to say as we wrap, I can't tell you how proud I am of you.
Thank you.
You're celebrating, getting ready to do your sabbatical. Are you excited about that?
I'm excited. I wanted already to do the sabbatical, but it didn't work out. Too much to do. And the plan is now to do it between Christmas and the New Year. Let's see whether that works out. Plan is middle of December to middle of January. Good. But with high speed, with HSS on the horizon, maybe we need to skip.
Touch wood. Let's
again.
I have another sidebar question. Like, your English before coming to Tungco was pretty strong. Is it stronger today because of your interaction of the American company, or?
It was not bad at that time, but of course, honestly, it is. I teach that to my kids as well, learning by doing, and not just with languages, with everything basically. So of course, if you need to speak, if you are forced to speak on a daily basis,
Your skill level.
Yes, the skill level, and what helped me in the past was, for example, I have a scrap trader in Europe, English speaking, of course. I asked him very early already, so that means 10, 15 years ago. If I say something wrong, he should immediately correct me. So the next time I will not do that mistake again.
Can I take that role now?
Yeah, please.
Because there's a couple things you wanted to say.
There's a few things.
There's a few things. Yeah, of course. It is not my first language. Sometimes, for example, in 23 was Pittsburgh, no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In 23, I had to do a speech, and honestly, my speech should be version A, but then when I listened to a couple of other speeches before, I changed it really completely 10 minutes before my speech. So, and then once I'm in the flow, it works.
Yes. No, you do very good.
And internally, his was voted the best speech that year. He did a fantastic job. Killed it.
I have no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
His
That's
presentation.
the last time we're going to
You touched.
No, that was it.
We touched.
Yeah. He doesn't even offer me or Royce a fist bump. You see that? He just
No, he's like
just fist
Paul.
bump. Yeah. Okay.
Like Paul even cares.
Yeah,
like
he
we
does.
do.
He does.
You know,
He does.
we care.
Touch me. I want to feel your body.
Paul's ready to walk. He's ready to walk.
Your heartbeat next to mine. It got on me.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so the last thing we have to do, Marcus, is we always ask guests to name a misfit. So somebody in your life that is still with us, or maybe they're not with us anymore, that didn't fit the norm, but there's somebody that you're like, I really love this person or respected this person that had an impact on your life.
A deep impact.
Deep.
So deep impact. It is Harry Stender. I mean, he's not.
He's misfit number one.
He is definitely misfit number one. I mean, without him, honestly, I wouldn't sit here. Honestly, he bring me here more or less.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
That's a good one.
Harry Stender is definitely a misfit.
That is for sure.
Okay. Well, Marcus, we love you, man. Proud of you. You got a great family. You're a great dad, a great team member, a great leader, and looking forward to what's going to happen with HSS as you as managing director and grow this thing into the stratosphere.
Yes. Thanks, Marcus.
All right.
Muchas gracias.
All right. That's been another episode with his deepness of the Misfit Social Podcast. Love you, boys. Let's go.